Hello, ladies and gentlemen watching on YouTube, and welcome to the second of 3 events for Daytona Speedweek to kick off Season 10 of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series. I am Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Budweiser Duels at the Daytona International Speedway. We're going 2 different 15-lap night race events to determine the starting lineup for the Daytona 500. So, a little reminder, the drivers who will have to race their way into the 500 are as followed. Lindsey Snyder, Alex Ferranti, Lisa Nelson, Matt Haas, Jordan Lopez, Charles Sanford, Hannah Klein, Ricky Karaman, Artur Castanha, Alex Hoover, Dylan Poteet, DJ Curtis, Laney Marino, Lauren Marino, Riley Henry, Cody Lamas, Patrick Smith, Daniel DK, Raphael Fireblade, and Chris Dollarton, either due to not being high enough in the point standings after the end of Season 9, or are returning drivers coming into Season 10, or rookies that have never ran a race in the past. So for this race, we are determining the inside line for the Daytona 500, the pole position, as well as everything else on the inside, 3rd, 5th, 7th, you get the idea. But let's take a look at the starting lineup for duel number 1. James Qualls starting on the front row with Laney Marino in the 34 and 2nd. Row 2 is Lindsey Snyder and the Busch Clash winner from Monday, Mitchell Collins. Row 3, Charles Sanford and Hannah Klein. Row 4, Kyle Matthews and Chris Dollarton. Row 5, Artur Castanha and Jay Jefferson. Row 6, Jordan Lopez, Matt McIntyre. Row 7 is Quentin Moore and Jordan Forbes. Row 8, Ricky Karaman and Cole Deaver. Row 9, Seth Cole and Patrick Smith. Row 10, Cody Lamas and Dylan Poteet. Row 11, Raphael LeDuc, Lisa Nelson. Row 12, Melissa Alexander and Charles Belding. And then starting last is Dylan Jacobs. So the drivers who will have to race their way in this race are Laney Marino, Lindsey Snyder, Charles Sanford, Hannah Klein, Chris Dollarton, Artur Castanha, Jordan Lopez, Ricky Karaman, Patrick Smith, Cody Lamas, Dylan Poteet, and Lisa Nelson. So those are the drivers who will have to try and race their way in. The first 5 of those drivers that finish well will be in the Daytona 500. The same will go for the ones who have to race their way in to duel number 2. But with all that being said and done, let's get the command to fire engines for the Budweiser Duels, the first one, here at Daytona.
Drivers, start your engines!
So one thing I noticed up here in the top 5, you had Mitchell Collins, who's starting in the outside lane of row 2 in that 22 car. Yeah, he won the Busch Clash back on Monday. Nobody has ever accomplished the Daytona triple during Speed Week, winning the duels, or winning the Clash, the duel race that they're in, and the 500. Can Mitchell Collins make history and get the duel win, and then have all the momentum in the world heading into the 500 on Friday in order to win that race? But as we all know, tracks like Daytona and Talladega are total crapshoots. You never know exactly what's going to happen at any given moment during these races. But James Qualls being up here on the front row, starting on the pole, is a good moment for him because he, like I said during the Clash, wants to forget all about Season 9 and move forward in hopes of rebounding and possibly getting himself a championship here in the 10th season of the Marvel Studios Cup Series. But a lot of other drivers are hungry in their own rights to go for a win here today, or tonight, during the duels. But a lot of drivers are going to be racing bad to the bone in order to get into the big show on Friday night. Pace car should be pulling into pit road anytime. And there he goes. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know what that means. It's time to get back, or get underway. Boogity, 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 let's go racing. James Qualls just barely led up the line right there over Lindsey Snyder, but now Kyle Matthews goes to the front as everybody's still here in the pack except for Dylan Jacobs. He's kind of lagging back a little bit. Let me go to the 41. He's slowly reeling in the pack again, so he's still within reach. He's just hoping for some drivers that are up on the outside line to go to the bottom and he can suck up to them in the draft and get back in the pack and get back in the hunt to win this duel race to get the pole for the 500. Meanwhile, up here at the front, Quentin Moore is now taking the race lead over, and he's actually got teammate James Qualls in this race. The only driver missing from Johanna Atwood Motorsports is Ryan Acosta, who we will see during duel number 2. But to kind of go into a bit of a profile of all the drivers coming into Season 10 that are rookies, returning drivers, or what have you. So yeah, Lindsey Snyder, who's in the 1 car, who's somewhere in the middle of the pack. Yeah, this is her rookie season, and she is the 6th car for the Shadow Cult Racing team. So that team is expanded to a 6-car operation, including rookie Lindsey Snyder. Alex Ferranti, who's going to be in duel number 2, he's a veteran on this channel in terms of racing. Has apologized for the freeze right there. I'm not sure what happened there, but regardless. Yeah, Alex Ferranti used to race back in the Walmart Cup Series days, but this season he is a rookie in the Marvel Studios Cup Series. Lisa Nelson, who's somewhere in this pack in the number 6 car for Average Joe Enterprises, she's a newcomer to the entire NR 2003 world, but we'll see how she performs here in Season 10. Matt Haas, who's a returning driver. We hadn't seen Matt Haas in this series in quite a long time, and he's making a comeback here in Season 10, driving in the 8 car for Diva Racing Incorporated. Jordan Lopez, who's coming off of a rather abysmal Season 9, not making a whole lot of races, definitely wants to redeem himself and push forward to getting into races in hopes of winning and possibly getting into championship contention. Same goes for the likes of Charles Sanford, Dylan Pulte, and Chris Dollarton. Those drivers, and even Cody Lamas and Riley Henry, all trying to look past last season in hopes of moving forward. But how about more of the returning drivers? And I also forgot, we just got the big one has struck. A hard crash in 3 and 4. Seth Cole was in it, Jordan Forbes, Quentin Moore, Dylan Poteet, Kyle Matthews, Lindsey Snyder, one of the drivers that needed to finish well. I guess Dylan Jacobs had lost the pack, and now he's finding himself in the catbird seat to try and get back in the pack. Trying to look for any other cars that might have sustained damage. I'm not seeing anybody. Not sure who the leader is supposed to be. Oh, it's Charles Belding in the 91. I was so busy trying to keep an eye out for, or trying to profile in the drivers that needed to race their way in, but yeah, we just ran into a big one here at Daytona, Charles Belding leads, so let's take a look and see what happened to bring the caution out for the first time tonight here at duel number 1 at Daytona. Teammates ended up colliding heading into turn 3, and really there just wasn't a whole lot of room going for guys like Jordan Forbes and such. And right here, Lindsey Snyder looks like her car, she handles the line fairly well, but Jordan Forbes was trying to find a way around. Gets into the one of Lindsey Snyder, up into Matthews, Moore, and Poteet, and then down into Seth Cole, Ricky Carman, and Mitchell Collins, as those were the only other drivers to end up being caught up in this whole thing. And Mitchell Collins had already taken his car over the wall, and that's a tough break for Mitchell Collins. I could have thought he was going to be a threat to go for the Daytona Triple, but it didn't quite work out for him as he ended up taking his car over the wall. But some of these cars ended up with minor damage. Some had bigger damage or more damage than others. But that was a look at what brought the caution out. Let's take you to the restart here in duel number 1. Well, after that first caution, we got 4 cars out of the race. Lindsey Snyder, Mitchell Collins, Dylan Poteet, and Jordan Forbes. Lindsey Snyder and Dylan Poteet will not make it into the big show on Friday, the Daytona 500. So tough break for the newcomer Lindsey and for legend Poteet. So they'll have to just wait and try again to get into race number 2 at North Wilkesboro coming up on Monday. Quentin Moore and Kyle Matthews have now gone a lap down, leaving 19 cars on the lead lap, 21 on the track. Still anybody's game that's still up here in the mix, but Charles Belding is your leader. Second is Rafael LeDuc. Third, Patrick Smith. Fourth, Cody Lamas. And fifth, Lisa Nelson. Sixth is Laney Marino. Seventh is Jay Jefferson. Eighth, James Qualls. Ninth, Cole Deaver. 10th, Melissa Alexander. 11th is Hannah Klein. 12th, Jordan Lopez. 13th, Matt McIntyre. 14th, Charles Sanford. 15th, Chris Dollerton. 16th, Ricky Karaman. 17th, Dylan Jacobs. 18th is Artur Castanha with no hood. And 19th is Seth Cole. So a few more drivers in the danger zone, so to speak, of failing to make the 500 on Friday. But it's going to be 6 laps to go when we get across the line here. Anything can still happen. As remember, the top 5 of those drivers that have to race their way in are the ones that will be able to make the 500. Currently, I'll wait until we get to the green flag. Green flag is out, and those 5 drivers currently would be Patrick Smith, Cody Lamas, Lisa Nelson, Laney Marino, and Hannah Klein currently. Apologize for the random freezing that's happening. But anyways, Charles Belding had a solid restart, holding off everybody behind him, as Patrick Smith got a big push from the rookie Lisa Nelson. But Lisa gonna try and get the inside lane working, getting help from Laney Marino. And here comes the number 6 Holiday Inn Ford out of Average Joe Enterprises. But back to what I was talking about earlier with the drivers that are new or coming back or need to make their way in the races for a bit. So, to the rookies that I haven't talked about, Alex Hoover, who I believe has never run a series of NR 2003 here on this channel, so this is his first season ever, and he's good friends with Alex Ferranti, and they're both going to be teammates out of JJ Automotive, along with Cody Lamas. And then other rookies like the Marino sisters, Laney and Lauren, 2 newcomers as well into the NR 2003 world. Laney is in this race. We'll see Lauren during duel number 2 coming up shortly. And then Daniel DK, who we will see in duel number 2. He's also a newcomer to the NR 2003 world. Some of you people may know him as a member of Banger TV on the YouTube side, as well as the guitarist of Canadian speed metal legends Exciter. Good friend of mine, making his debut here in Season 10, driving for his own team of DK Army Racing. So we'll see that car, and we'll see him during duel number 2. But anyways, as it's now less than 4 laps to go in the top 3, it's all the ladies coming out swinging here at the later stage of the race. Lisa Nelson hanging on to the lead, with Lainey Marino right behind, and then Hannah Klein was in third. But here comes Jordan Lopez, and actually these 4 right now are 4 drivers that have to race their way in, so they're trying to guarantee themselves a starting spot for the 500 by running up here in the top 5. And then the next guy to try and get in is Patrick Smith, as he's trying to go by his future retiring teammate, Rafael LeDuc. So now the top 5 is all drivers that have to race their way in. Nelson, Marino, Lopez, Klein, and Smith. But you got another one who's trying to get into the picture, and that's Cody Lamas in the 48, who also is one to look past Season 9 in hopes of getting back into championship contention like he was back in Season 8. Because Cody Lamas still has that chip on his shoulder of missing the championship by 1 point to Seth Cole back in Season 8, so he's definitely looking to try and make some magic happen. Less than 2 laps to go, and Lisa Nelson making a strong first impression in her first ever event in her NR 2003 career, running up here in the lead. But she's got the Wings of Glory Motorsports teammates right behind her, Patrick Smith and Rafael LeDuc, and Patrick Smith's going to pull out to the inside to try and get the lead, but just didn't have enough momentum, and LeDuc didn't stay locked in behind. But things are getting dicey for that final transfer spot. And the white flag is out here in duel number 1 for Lisa Nelson. Right now, the 5 that would transfer are her, Smith, Lamas, Marino, and Klein. Currently, Jordan Lopez going to have to try and pass Hannah Klein in the 11 to try and get into the race. Top 4 are all in a train formation. Cole Deaver, who's having a strong run going here in the end. But Lisa Nelson trying to hold off everybody to get her first non-points victory of her career. And it looks like she's going to get it as we're coming off of turn number 4 for the final time in duel number 1. Checkered flag waving. Lisa Nelson wins the Budweiser Duel number 1 at Daytona. And will start on the pole for the Daytona 500 as well. What an incredible first impression for the newbie in Lisa Nelson. First race, wins, and get to start on the pole for the main event on Friday. But let's look at the rest of the results. So actually, why don't we take a look at the drivers who transferred their way in. So besides Lisa Nelson, Patrick Smith transferred his way into the race. Cody Lamas, Lainey Marino, and Hannah Klein all made it into the Daytona 500. So the drivers that did not make it were Jordan Lopez, and look at the margin between he and Hannah Klein. It was by 1/100th of a second. Jordan Lopez came within inches of making the race, but he's going to have to wait till North Wilkesboro to try and qualify. And then the other drivers who did not make it, Chris Dollarton's going to miss the 500 for the first time. Charles Sanford is going to miss the race. Ricky Carmen, Artur Castanha is going to miss it, as well as Lindsey Snyder and Dylan Poteet. But why don't we look at the rest of the drivers who finished in the top 10. Rafael LeDuc finishing right behind his teammate Patrick Smith, so they'll be working in tandem at least at the start of the 500, as they will be starting 3rd and 5th respectively on the inside line. Cole Deaver, great run in 4th, he'll get to start 7th, and then as we go through, Jay Jefferson with a strong run in 9th, and then Charles Belding rounding out the top 10, and then there's your top 20 and the rest of the field. So that was it for duel number 1. Stick around in just a moment. We will get started for duel number 2 to determine the outside lane for the Daytona 500. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Budweiser Duels as we're getting set for duel number 2 to determine the outside lane for the Daytona 500 on Friday night. So the starting lineup for duel number 2, Raphael Fireblade is on the pole for duel number 2 with Carson Gum next to him in second. Row 2, we have Daniel Voiles, Jessica Shelton. Row 3, Zachary Fitzwater, Alex Ferranti. Row 4, Alex Hoover, Riley Henry. Row 5, DJ Curtis, Daniel Bichard. Row 6, Joey Parkhill, Caleb Kilburn. Row 7, William Brock and defending series champion Scott Groverston. Row 8, Jonathan Zorline and Daniel DK. Row 9, Matt Haas, Dylan Young. Row 10, Jesse Turner, Michael Norman. Row 11, Henry Sanford, Alyssa Drayson. Row 12, Keith Miller Jr., Ryan Acosta. And then in the last row, starting last and 25th, is Lauren Marino. Let's get the Commando Fire Engines for duel number 2 here at Daytona.
Drivers, start your engines!
All 25 drivers now on the track for the pace lap here for the second duel race. I just noticed there's a blank car on the track. I'm going to see who that is. Oh, it's the 8 of Matt Haas, so we're just going to have to pretend that that blank car is the number 8 of Matt Haas. I don't know what happened with the car conversions, but if he were to make the race, I'll do my best to try and fix that before the 500 on Friday. But regardless, so yeah, we're going to see more crazy action take place here in duel number 2 as 5 more of those drivers that have to race their way into the 500 are going to go balls to the wall to gain every spot they can to get into transfer positions to make the main event on Friday. So right now, the 5 that would make it if the race were to end right now would be Raphael Fireblade, Alex Ferranti, Alex Hoover, Riley Henry, and DJ Curtis. But 15 laps of action to come right at you, and we shall see how things play out for these 25 drivers. Because remember, whoever wins this duel race will get to start second in the Daytona 500. We already know who's on the pole for the race on Friday, and that's rookie Lisa Nelson. But there's quite a few of the Average Joe Enterprise drivers in this race. Can any of them try and be on the outside line next to their teammate? Pace car in pit road. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing again. Zachary Fitzwater led the first lap here in duel number 2, but now rookie Alex Hoover has the race lead for the moment, and DJ Curtis, all-time legend on this channel, took a season off back in Season 9, but now he is back here in Season 10, and maybe better than ever, we'll see. But he also does have a teammate in this race, and that's Jonathan Zorline, who is trying to actually get the lead for himself, as we're seeing a lot of lead changing happen up here at the front of the field. Jonathan Zorleen, one of the 3 owners of the 3-car team of KMZ Racing, along with DJ Curtis and Matt McIntyre. But we saw Matt McIntyre during duel number 1, but Zorleen and Curtis are here in duel number 2. As things are getting pretty dicey up here in this pack, as I see Matt Haas in that blank car at the very back of the field is slowly losing the pack. So not only did the paint scheme not show up for him, but he's not off to a good start here in duel number 2. But Jonathan Zorleen trying to do all he can to hold off everybody, because he wants to have the best starting spot possible for the Great American Race on Friday. But how about Caleb Kilburn, who was one of quite a few championship contenders at the end of Season 9. He just missed it by several points. He's looking to redeem himself here in Season 10 and get Average Joe Enterprises their first championship. And also, how cool would it be if he were to win this race? He would be able to start next to his teammate, Lisa Nelson, for the 500, making it the first time ever 2 teammates from the same team starting on the front row for the Great American Race. And there's the 3rd Johanna Atwood Motorsports driver that was not in duel number 1 but is here, and that's Ryan Acosta. Ryan Acosta had a lot of strong runs back in Season 9. He just had a massive problem with consistency. He just could not shake off inconsistencies and just ended up falling out of the top 20 in points after the final race back at Kansas at the end of Season 9. But also keep this in mind, the schedule for this season has gone through a massive overhaul. And that is that we're going to be doing these races in different swings. As we're kicking off the southeastern swing with the Daytona 500, the following race is going to be held at North Wilkesboro on Monday. As far as the rest of the schedule, I can't quite remember everything off the top of my head right now. But regardless, that's how it all is going to go. And I see peeking his way into the top 5, the defending series champion Scott Groverston, who won a nail-biter of a championship back at the end of Season 9, as it was between himself, Zachary Fitzwater, Alyssa Drayson, Matt McIntyre, and Caleb Kilburn. And actually, most of those drivers are in this duel except for Matt McIntyre. He was in duel number 1, but the other championship contenders from the end of Season 9 are here in this race. Kilburn, Groverston. I'm trying to look around for, there's Drayson and Fitzwater back there on the inside lane. Caleb Kilburn hanging on to the top spot for the time being here at Daytona. But he's putting a bit of a gap between himself and the rest of the pack. That's not really a good thing, because we could see these drivers reel in that 99 so quickly you wouldn't be able to see it if you blinked. But Groverston currently in 2nd, but right behind that, Jonathan Zorleen trying to get back up to the front. And how about this? 2 of those championship contenders, Alyssa Drayson and Zachary Fitzwater, working together to try and get up to the front. Very interesting to see that. And Alyssa Drayson, who's guaranteed locked into this race after she failed to make the 500 back in Season 9, or I might be thinking of Fitzwater, I can't quite remember. But one of those 2 didn't make this race last season, but they're both locked in this time. As meanwhile, a bit of a tandem going on. Kilburn and Zorleen, 2 fellow Fords working together to try and get away from the rest of the pack. But will that last? As another tandem was starting to work together a little bit, Riley Henry and Zachary Fitzwater, and they have caught Zorleen and Kilburn, and Zorleen going to the inside to try and take the lead back from the 99 of Kilburn. But now Zorleen left the inside wide open for Zachary Fitzwater to make a move. And he in turn left the inside open to let Riley Henry in line. Or maybe not. Maybe it was just trying to get a air into the front end or something. I can't quite figure out what the deal was with that. But Riley Henry's momentum kind of got shot as a result. And I don't even see, yeah, there's Matt Haas. He has completely lost the pack. So it's just 24 cars up here at the front. And so far, this has been the cleanest portion of Speed Week thus far. We had a caution out during the Clash and a caution out during Duel number 1. But these drivers are racing each other hard, but racing each other really clean as well. Oh man, are they going to attempt 4 wide? Please don't. Okay, they settle it out. I thought if they were going to go 4 wide, we was going to have a massive crash on our hands, but luckily they settled out to 3 wide. Jonathan Zorleen really determined to win this event, but you got Riley Henry, who's in one of the transfer spots currently, the highest transfer driver currently on track, as he's in 2nd, and it's hard to tell who the other transfer drivers are currently because they're just so close together. But I'm going to do my best to try and pick out who's in the transfer spots. Okay, I think Alex Ferranti would be one of them. The other one I think would be DJ Curtis. Then I want to say Fireblade would be one of them. Like I said, it's really hard to tell because of just how close they are to each other in their respective lanes. Zorleen still, he's basically trying to mirror drive everybody and just block every lane possible to keep that spot. As Keith Miller Jr. moves from the bottom to the middle, that was probably not the smartest choice on his end. As Zachary Fitzwater got a big push from Jesse Turner to get back to the back bumper of Jonathan Zorleen's 000 car. Little attempt from William Brock to try and break up a little bit of that top 4 action going on, right, or the top 3 action right now. As Zachary Fitzwater trying to get to the inside to take the spot from Zorleen, but William Brock says, hey, I got a bumper. I want in on this action too. And William Brock now has the lead here in Duel number 2. And we're seeing more of the transfer drivers sneak their way up here. Alex Ferranti, DJ Curtis, Rafael Fireblade, and Daniel Decay are all up here. And now they have caught the slower car of Matt Haas as he's holding up the inside lane right now, and that definitely helped for the pack to kind of bunch back up a little bit more. Fitzwater to the inside as we now got 3 laps to go here in Duel number 2. Oh, I'm going to go to helicopter view to keep an eye on some of this action, see how much room they're giving one another. And it looks like they are giving plenty of room to each other. Those drivers that are stuck on the outside lane behind. Oh, and Alyssa Drayson gets turned. It looks like Scott Groverston and Michael Norman is a caution out. No, we're still green as they spun towards the apron. So we're still going to be green for the time being. But the 42, the 87, and 21 cost themselves a good starting spot. As a result, none of the transfer drivers were involved, as it's now 2 laps to go here in Duel number 2. And how about Daniel DK? We haven't really talked much about him in this race. He's now trying to get into the transfer position. Although he gets put to the outside or the middle groove. Not a good move on his part. But currently would be in one of the transfer spots. Although it's very tight for those spots with everybody up here. Right now, those transfer drivers would be Lauren Marino, who started last. She's now up here towards the front. But yeah, it'd be her, DK, Hoover, Henry, and Ferranti that would make their way into the race currently. But anything can still happen. White flag is out. William Brock hanging on, but Ryan Acosta is right there on his tail. But man, everybody's just racing each other so hard behind. It's going to be hard for these guys to catch the top 2 in order to make something crazy happen. But we'll see how it all turns out. A couple cars scraped the wall off of turn 2, but they're still going. Dylan Young trying to make some noise here on the final lap. Couldn't quite make it stick as he had no help from behind. William Brock Looks like he's going to be the one to start second in the 500. Nobody's making a move on him. As we're getting ready to come off of, as we're coming through the tri-oval, checkered flag waving, William Brock will win the Budweiser Duel number 2 event here at Daytona and will start second in the Daytona 500 itself. And as I'm looking through the rest of the results, I'm trying to see who all transferred into the 500, so I'm going to take a look at it. So it looks like the transfer drivers, the final transfer drivers, were Riley Henry, so congratulations to the 40 car. Then it looks like it's Lauren Marino, Daniel DK, Alex Hoover, and Raphael Fireblade. Those are the 5 drivers that made it into the Great American Race. Unbelievable job by those 5, but let's look at the rest of the results. Ryan Acosta, I figured if he had somebody behind him to push him, he might have had a chance at winning this duel event, but he's going to have to settle for second. But still, he's going to get a top 5 starting spot for the race on Friday. And then Dylan Young finishing with a strong 3rd place finish. Jesse Turner, great run in the 5th spot. Joey Parkhill, solid run in the 6th position. And how about that 707 for Henry Sanford? Caleb Kilburn, he was the closest, or actually no, Jesse Turner was the closest of the Average Joe Enterprise drivers to try and start next to their rookie teammate. But Caleb Kilburn, solid run in 8th. Daniel Bouchard with a great run in 9th, and Carson Gum rounding out the top 10. Then there's your top 20, and then the rest of the drivers that finished. So the drivers that did not make the Great American Race were Alex Ferranti, DJ Curtis, and Matt Haas. So there you have it. That's the coverage for the Budweiser Duels here at Daytona. Thank you for watching, as you will now see not only the burnout for William Brock, but also the final starting lineup for the Daytona 500 on Friday. But until then, this is Levi McIntyre, signing off.